What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the shop today. Today we're going to be working on our 2005 K5 Suzuki GSXR1000. We're going to be popping that air box off of there, replacing that filter, taking a peek and seeing what kind of filter it's got in it. Might be a new one, who knows? It has been sitting since 2015. We are going to pull those plugs out and get a read on those, kind of understand how the bike was running previously. And I do have some new NGK plugs on the bench. Let's get those in. So without further ado, let's get right into it. We do have a K&N air filter. Oh, there it is, upside down. There's the part number. Did get this off of Revzilla. It's pricey for an air filter, man. That fucker was like $100. And we do have these CR9E NGK plugs. That's what it calls for in this manual right here. So let's get that cover off and get right into it. If I do say so myself, that can came out looking pretty good just for a drill and some elbow grease. And I already have the fuel tank off this motorcycle. If you don't know how to get the fuel tank off, it's pretty simple. You just have to disconnect this fuel line here just by pressing on those gray tabs and sliding that off. And there's one other electrical connection underneath there that you have to undo right there, I believe. But it was pretty simple all in all. So I'm not going to show you how to get that off, but let's start taking off these connections and get this air box off. The tab there. Press and get that off, and we'll have to get both of these hoses off. I'm just going to probably use some little pliers here. That band clamp down. We should be able to maybe work these off. They'll probably be pretty brittle. Okay, there's one. There's two. So the only thing I did was really just slide those down. You have one there, one here. Disconnect the electrical connection here, and we have stuff on the other side. So let's get over there. Over here we have this blue electrical connector, and there's a tab on top. You can press it down, slide that off, and then you have this hose here. This gray hose, I believe, goes to a vacuum line. You can just pull that off as well. I believe that's all the connections we got to undo to get this off. And now let's take all these screws out. So there's lots of Phillips head screws, or they might be JIS screws. I'm not 100% sure, but there's one way down in here. We use this long extension to get it loose, if I can find it. And then the rest of them will just pop all those loose. That should be it. Should be able to pop this air box lid off now. Okay, and I did just keep all of my screws in there. But yeah, that 100% is the factory air filter. Oh yeah, that's the factory one right there. A little dusty in there. All right, moment of truth. Oh yeah, she's pretty grimy. So yeah, that's the OEM air filter from 2005. If I was a betting man, I'd say that thing has never been changed. So we're gonna blow this this area out with some compressed air. Make sure we don't get anything down in the throttle bodies, and we'll work on getting the rest of this cover off. So now you guys can see this one, and there are 4 more of those. There's another one right there, and those are your band clamps, if you want to call them, that hold your throttle body on. Now there's 2 over here, and there's 2 on the other side. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this long driver again and get in there, because they're at an angle to allow you to get in there. And we're just going to loosen those up. Not very tight at all. There's number 1. That's number 2. Number 3, and snake in there and get number 4. Okay, number 4. So all 4 of those throttle body clamps are loose, and the only other thing is right here we have a 10mm we need to get loose. Nope, I don't think so. Okay, there we go. Okay. Oh, mouse house. Let me get you in there. Look at all this stuff. This shit is just disintegrating and making an absolute mess. So there's more of that foam crap. I'm gonna suck that out with a vacuum. So when I pull that airbox lid off, but look at this. Oh, hello, mouse house friend. That's not a fire waiting to happen. Get the big stuff out. Ooh, campfire tinder. So the next thing we're gonna do to get our spark plugs out is on all of these coil packs, we're gonna unhook these just one at a time. The only thing you should really have to do is wiggle it. There you go. And pull it out. So I'll have those out, and then one at a time, I'm gonna use a 5/8 ratchet. Once you do get your coil pack out, I like to take a little compressed air, blow it down the hole. Just to make sure no dirt and debris get down in there. Okay. And that one is out. So let's get the rest of them out and take a look at them all. So these are the plugs that came out, and honestly, they all look really similar to one another. None of them really look that much different from one another. They're all a little bit dark, but all in all, not too bad. I dropped this one here. But yeah, all in all, not too terrible, not super oil fouled or carbon fouled or anything. So yeah, not too terrible. I'm gonna check the gap on these. And the gap spec right here. So I got all this information straight out of the manual. I just put it on the board to be a little bit easier for everyone. This is for an 05 GSXR1000. So the spark plug torque is 11 Newton meters or 97 inch-pounds. The spark plug type, I am using NGKs, and that's the part number, the CR9E. But if you are going to use a Denso plug, it's a U27E. SR-N, and then the spark plug gap in millimeters should be 0.07 to 0.08, or if you're using a gap tool that's in inches, it's 0.028 to 0.032, and that's what I'm going to be using here. So let me check the plugs that came out of it, see what they were gapped at, check our new plugs before we put them in, and make sure they're gap correct. Right at about 0.031, 032. So right on the high end of the spec. Just kind of want to get a feel for it to see if they were gapped correctly. About the same. About 0.30. 0.30. So none of them were out of spec. About 0.30. Okay, so none of them were out of spec. Let's check the gap on the new ones, make sure they're good to go. Right at about 0.30. Same, 0.30, 0.30. Okay, so these are all about 0.30, and once again, I'm using the NGKR CR9E plugs. I don't know how well it's gonna turn out, but just for shits and giggles, that's our old plug on the left, it's our new plug on the right. Let's see if we can see any noticeable difference in spark. It actually looks like the old one looks better. Maybe I'm crazy. I am going to use just a tiny bit of anti-seize on these threads before I put them in. I mean, just a tiny bit. You don't need to slather this stuff on. I got some anti-seize on here, just a little, and I'll do all the plugs that way. All right, I do have a spark plug socket with a little rubber piece down in there. Pop these in there, and I'm going to feed these in, hopefully one by one. I always like to go really slow, back them in reverse just to make sure that I'm hand starting everything. So I'll get them all hand started, and then we'll hit these with the torque wrench. We have our torque wrench set to 11 Newton meters, and we're going to torque these. That's not a lot. 11. Now I ran all these down all the way by hand beforehand, so. This last one's kind of tricky to get to because the wires are kind of in the way. Yeah, that last one's a little tricky to get to because of the placement of the wires and stuff. You can't really get a good shot on it, but we got them. All right, I'm gonna put these in the same way I got them, but they are all the same. Once you got them in, you want to make sure they're fully seated. You can hear it kind of going over those ribs of your spark plug. You don't want to hammer on these things so you don't want to break them. But you do want them all the way down in there. All the way in there, we'll just hook our connectors back up. I always want to double check, make sure that you have them in there. Push, click, pull, push. So all of those are hooked up. So our plugs are changed. Now onto this funky thing. Now this, I'm pretty sure is probably not supposed to be deteriorating like that. I don't know if I can get a replacement piece for that or what, but I'm gonna get rid of all that shit. There's a little bit of junk in here too. We'll empty that out, but I'm gonna suck all this stuff out of there. Dude, that entire filter thing in there just sucked out, so I'm gonna get that good and clean. I know that's to catch oil and stuff, but yeah, I couldn't live with that. That stuff would blow all around, I would imagine, and get up inside of my my engine, so I don't want that. So as far as that filter that's in there to catch any blow by, because your crankcase tube is hooked to it, I'm gonna take a Scotch-Brite pad and I'm gonna cut it and make my own to go in there. Arts and crafts time. And there you have it. It's a new filter. All right, now I'm gonna take this air box and with my new Scotch-Brite filter, we're gonna put it back in. Throw my 10mm back in. A little bit difficult to see with the lever in the way, but you want to make sure that once you get your air box in, that foam gasket in there is sitting up against the frame good. Kind of like that. And boom, there's your air filter in there. That's where your air filter will go. And also, when you're tightening these down, you want to make sure that you have these down all the way, or else you're gonna create an air leak. So on this K&N air filter here, it does say remove the stock O-ring from the airbox base, install the K&N part with the part facing up, reinstall the airbox cover and tighten the lid. So pretty self-explanatory, so let's get that O-ring out of there. That was easy. Shake on. Ah, so fresh and so clean. Ooh, made in the USA. There she is, newly installed Cannon air filter. And it comes with a sticker. Dude, I couldn't have did that again in a million years. Look at that sticker, man. Impossible shot. I go through and just hook all my stuff back up. Stinker. Store airbox in the back on. Middle one. There it is. I should swap to a smaller extension, but I'm currently too lazy. All right, everybody, that is it for tonight. That is probably part 5 of our K5 2005 Suzuki GSXR1000. We did put 4 NGK plugs in there and did get that air filter swapped out. It was pretty simple to do. Skill level of maybe like 19.75, so pretty simple. If you guys have any questions, please let me know at ScottLink_L5P on Instagram. As always, I appreciate you guys watching and following along this project. Until next time, thank you. Take care. Will just help me understand. Oh, you little butthead. Okay. Oh, come on. Work with me here. Don't fight me. Where are you? You fucker. Nope, not it. Oh, not close. Arrgh. Like I can freaking see down in there. GSXR1000. Oh, it's a tripod. Left that in the way. Redo.